Hey guys, what's up? I am Jordan Rard-Coutey. You are watching Sporty Jordy, and I honestly think week 5 has been my favorite week of football thus far this season, and that is not just because my Eagles got a win. I mean, let's be 100% completely honest here. That definitely plays a factor. There are just such few things in this world that bring me as much joy as an Eagles win, so I have to cherish it when I can. Okay, but seriously, I'm not joking. This week really was incredible. Every single game was so much fun. Everything was crazy, and honestly, it was super weird. There was so much weird history broken this weekend. It wasn't just like normal records that people were breaking. It was like the most obscure things. For example, the Cleveland Browns became the first team in NFL history to score 40 points, not have a single turnover, and still lose. And let's just process how crazy that actually is, considering how talented their defense is. Personally, I just think this just emphasizes how talented Justin Herbert and the Chargers as a whole are, but specifically Justin. So, moreover, Lamar Jackson's passing and rushing yards combined this season equal more than 18 NFL teams. We are not comparing him to other quarterbacks. We are comparing him to whole freaking organizations. So I swear to freaking God, if I hear a single ounce of Lamar Jackson slander at all this season, I will square up with you. I will have no other choice. The man is literally carrying his team on his back and winning games and doing exceptionally well. I am just in awe of him, and this is especially relevant right now because my favorite press conference that he's ever done was talking about his Halloween costume. It wasn't from last year, it was from the season before. He's literally sitting there talking about how he dressed up as Harry Potter, but it is the most pure thing. Like when I'm having a bad day and I need a pick-me-up, I will watch this press conference. I have it memorized. Like I watch it all of the time. But that was the moment where I was just like, yeah, I would jump in front of a bus for Lamar Jackson. So overall, Lamar is doing very well. He is lucky because he has Justin Tucker on his team because he is the best kicker. I think now we can actually say ever. He is the greatest NFL kicker of all time after breaking that record in week 3. Which if you watched my last video, you know I will actually never get over because I took the Lions in that game and it was such a hot take and I got so much hate for it. And then they got so freaking close and it was Justin Tucker with the longest field goal in NFL history that crushed my dreams. But I can't even be mad because one, I have him on my fantasy team, and like I said, he's the greatest of all time. I don't know what I was expecting. Other kickers in the league though, a lot of them. I think it's safe to say that they're struggling. Another just bizarre mark in NFL history that took place in week 5 of this 2021 NFL season. Kickers were just historically terrible. Like they literally tied the league record for the most missed extra points ever. Did I say that right? They tied the record for the most missed extra points. Yeah, okay. It is just one of those days today. As you can tell, I'm in my comfy attire. I got my fuzzy socks on. I got my big comfy sweatpants on. I'm also repping my Sporty Jordy merch, which I never think I promoted at all in a single video on this channel. I just kind of dropped it and said nothing about it. So yeah, I have some merch. I'm actually going to be dropping a little bit more soon. So I'll include a link in case you want to check that out. But back to kickers being terrible this week. It wasn't even just like it was one or two guys. It was literally a league-wide thing. But nothing took me on as much of a roller coaster as the Packers-Bengals game. That was the most insane thing I've ever experienced ever. Potentially, I can see why that statement could be taken as being slightly dramatic. Maybe it wasn't the craziest thing I've ever seen ever in my life, but it was nuts. Let's put it in perspective. Before this game, Mason Crosby, the Packers kicker, has made 27 straight field goal attempts and then woke up that Sunday morning, missed an extra point, and missed 3 field goals. And he did. He made up for it by nailing the one that ended up winning them the game. But 3 missed field goals. That is... This game literally almost ended in a tie strictly because the kickers couldn't do anything. McPherson, the Bengals kicker, was also missing field goals left and right. And this game was also super crazy because if you follow my social medias, I'm also part of the Liberty Line crew. I will attach a link to that website in my bio. All Philly sports fans, you have to check it out. But this weekend, me and a group of the guys from the Liberty Line, we all got a house up in the Poconos and we were just drinking and having a great time all weekend. Sunday, we were obviously watching games all day, and I woke up that morning. I said it in my video too. I was like, it is insane to me that the Packers are only favored by 2 points. And the house was split on this. Actually, not even split. There was a majority of the guys siding with the Bengals. That morning, my bet was already placed. I already had Packers -2. And then all of a sudden, all throughout the game, everyone started taking the Bengals. And I was like, what is going on here? So just imagine a group of people where some have Packers -2, the others have Bengals money line. And then we had that wild ass game that took us literally on a roller coaster of emotions. We thought it was over 11 times before it actually ended. There were so many ups and downs. And I'll admit, I was a little wrong. I was expecting this to be a complete blowout from the Packers. And yes, they got the win. And yes, my bet hit. But the Bengals did keep it a very close game. So I do have to give them kudos. But I still got my money, so it's fine. So to summarize, week 5, super weird, but super fun. And this year for kicking, overall, this season is just insane. There's been 10 instances where kickers have had to make game-winning field goals at either the end of regulation or at the end of overtime. It's just crazy. And I would just like to throw it out there that the Arizona Cardinals are still undefeated. Did I mention that the Eagles also beat the Panthers? For the most part, week 5 was a 10 out of 10, but there is some unfortunate news that we have to get into. This bit of news is honestly something that I never thought I was going to have to talk about ever. Russell Wilson is injured. In his 10-year career since becoming the Seattle Seahawks starting quarterback, Russell Wilson has never missed a game. That is 149 regular season starts, all 16 playoff appearances. He is the most reliable quarterback. Luckily, though, this injury, it really isn't anything super serious. He left in the 4th quarter of their game Thursday night and underwent surgery Friday on his middle finger that was injured in 2 places. Now, some reports that I've seen say he can be back in 3 weeks. Other articles that I've read are saying the team is bracing to have him out for 8 weeks. But either way, it doesn't seem like they are going out and getting any other quarterback. They are going to roll with Geno Smith. There were some rumors about Cam Newton or Nick Foles, but as of right now, it seems like they really trust Geno Smith, so they are going to roll with him for the time being. And I honestly think that's really smart, especially if Russell Wilson can come back in as quick as 3 weeks. Now, if over the next 2 weeks, say they lose both games and you're not really seeing any bright moments from Geno Smith, and then it starts looking like Russell Wilson's injury could be leaning more towards that 8-week recovery time, then I think it's safe to consider other options. But for right now, I really think they're smart in just doing what they're doing and figuring it out until they know more. I have a feeling Russell Wilson is going to be back and better sooner rather than later. And now in the NFC West, there is even more quarterback injuries. Trey Lance got his first start this weekend going up against the always lovely Arizona Cardinals, and he was in for Jimmy G, who is dealing with a calf injury. But now we have learned that Trey Lance suffered a knee sprain, and Kyle Shanahan made it sound like it was no big deal at all, 1 or 2 weeks max. So they're lucky because they do have a bye this week, which is the bright side considering they have some extra time to kind of figure out what to do and to plan for week 7 up against the Indianapolis Colts, where Carson Wentz looked like a fantastic quarterback this week. But the 49ers, man, they just cannot catch a break with these injuries. I think for right now, this is just something we have to wait out and see and keep our eye on. One thing I will say, though, I did not love the play calling for Trey Lance. And I was shocked because Kyle Shanahan is such a brilliant offensive mind, but they just seem so confused, and I get it. They have a lot going on. They're dealing with injuries all over the board. They have 2 quarterbacks. But I think at some point you need to have a set game plan for Jimmy Garoppolo. You need to have a set game plan for Trey Lance. Everyone needs to know how to work with both quarterbacks if that's how you're going to continue running this offense. And I don't doubt Kyle Shanahan to get to the bottom of it and figure it out. I'm just honestly, it's week 5. I'm shocked it's taking this long. I'm going to blame it on the injuries. I think that's a very easy scapegoat right now. But yeah, the 49ers seem like they are back to being in shambles, just like they were last year, which is super unfortunate. Hopefully the second half of this season will be nicer to them. I guess right now is about as good of a time as any to talk about Jon Gruden. In the middle of Monday Night Football, Jon Gruden announced that he was resigning as head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders. This came very, very quickly after some not so nice emails were discovered. And when I say not so nice, I mean a plethora of homophobic, misogynistic, racist remarks scattered all throughout his emails over a very extended period of time. In his statement, he said, and I quote, "I love the Raiders and I do not want to be a distraction. Thank you to all of the players, coaches, and staff and fans of Raider Nation. I'm sorry. I never meant to hurt anyone." This situation is just so crazy because how all of this even ended up coming out, let me make it clear, the NFL wasn't even investigating Jon Gruden. This all goes back to Bruce Allen from the Washington football team scandal from a couple of years ago. It was known that him and Jon Gruden were very good friends, and in the midst of their investigation on him, so much was found on Jon Gruden that point blank, something just had to be done. Now, I am going to be very honest. I tend to be a very positive person in these situations, and I have a very open mindset, and I try to expect the best from people even after they mess up. I try really hard to believe that people can evolve and learn from their mistakes and grow from past situations. So when I first heard about a Jon Gruden email from 2011, I wanted to see what it was, but I didn't immediately want to go off and just cancel him. To an extent, I honestly think cancel culture can honestly be more detrimental because, like I said, we need to give people a chance to admit their wrongdoings, to learn from where they've messed up, and then that brings change moving forward. So I was never excusing his actions or his remarks, but I wanted to see nearly a decade later how he reflected on the situation. However, as we know now, it wasn't just one remark in one email. It was quite literally degrading all groups of people, no matter their beliefs, their gender, their race, over an extensive period of time. And when it gets that deep, there are consequences that you're not going to be able to get yourself out of. So yes, we just witnessed the downfall of Jon Gruden, and now the Raiders have their special teams coordinator as their interim head coach as they're on the search for looking for a long-term solution. This is just something else. I swear to God, though, if they go out and get Doug Peterson right before we have to play them, I will scream. I will actually scream. I had to take a brief hiatus, but we're back, and now we can talk about sports betting. In the bets that I gave you guys last week, I actually went 5-1, so I was very happy with that. It was the Jets that screwed me over in London, and that was actually a super funny story too. Like I said earlier, this past weekend, got a house in the Poconos with the guys from the Liberty Line, and Saturday night, there was the last few of us left still awake, and I looked everyone in the eyes and I was like, I am waking up at 9:30 a.m. for the game, which was literally in 3 hours. And a couple of them were like, yes, we're waking up. I will see you at 9:30 in the morning. My alarm did go off I don't know what happened after that. I just know I was woken up again at noon to hear the Jets were down 14-0. And I was like, where even am I right now? They put up a fight and they were coming back, but they did not cover. But it's fine. I still went 5-1. This week, I'm actually going to focus on the London game as well. Jaguars versus Dolphins. Now, we all know how much I love and adore the Miami Dolphins. And even when they're doing terrible, I still wish the best for them and I want them to do well. They are just in such a bizarre state right now, and I'm just eagerly waiting for Tua to come back so this offense can do literally anything. It's like super unfortunate that the London games really don't have the best matchups. Like last week, Jets Falcons, who really wanted to wake up at 9:30 in the morning and watch that. I really did. My heart was in the right place. Anywho, I understand that Jags versus the Dolphins isn't too exciting. This is a good game to bet on, though, just because I feel like these teams are on that same level. And this week, I really think the Jags are due for a win. Like I said, the Dolphins just don't look like the Dolphins at all. They really can't get anything together, and it's super unfortunate. Not that the Jags are in much better of a position, but they are just due for a win, and they are the underdogs here, so I recommend taking the Jags +3 this weekend. Again, make sure to place those bets early because that game does start at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Another game that I am literally floored about. This just really pisses me off. The fact that the Browns are the favorites against the Cardinals. And I get it. The Browns just put up 40-some points. The Cardinals only got up 17. But the Cardinals are just a team that knows how to plan for whoever they're going up against. And the Browns, very solid football team. I'm not knocking the Browns at all, but they have weaknesses. And we've seen that. And I think the Cardinals are going to be able to figure that out. So I am taking the Cardinals +3 this weekend. Realistically, I'm probably going to put my money on Cardinals money line, but I do like Cardinals with the points as well. Another one I really like, Panthers +1.5. The Panthers, I understand my Eagles just beat you, but you are still a very solid football team. Not convinced on the Vikings at all. Panthers +1.5 is a lock to me, but I will give you my money line locks as well. This week, I am rolling with the Colts, the Steelers, and the Rams. Colts and Rams, that really doesn't require an explanation. I understand the Steelers have been a little up and down this season, and they're going up against the Seahawks, who have remained fairly consistent. But like I mentioned earlier, they're going up against the Seahawks without Russell Wilson. And Geno Smith, I think, can be a solid quarterback, but everything I've seen from the Steelers over the last 2 weeks, they found themselves into a groove. Yes, they lost Juju, which is detrimental to my one fantasy team. I genuinely don't know how I'm going to make it out alive at this point. But you have Najee Harris, who is out there doing everything he can for this team. You have Claypool, who's stepping up in the absence of Juju. So you do have guys, and I just have faith that they're going to be able to pull it off. Seahawks are not used to playing without Russell Wilson. I'm not even knocking Geno Smith. I think he's going to be a solid quarterback, but I think they're going to be a little shaken up, and the Steelers are just going to be able to come out on top here. So there you have it. Jags +3, Cardinals +3, Panthers +1.5. I told you guys I'm a fan of taking the underdogs with the points. And Colts, Steelers, Rams are the absolute locks of this week. If you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to my channel for all of my content. At this point, I'm just really hoping that week 6 is going to be as good, if not better, than week 5. And also, the Eagles have the longest winning streak in Thursday Night Football right now, so I'm not going to say I'm getting my hopes up for us to beat the Super Bowl champion Buccaneers, but I'm not going to say it's entirely out of the question either. All right, let's get out of here before I get way too crazy. Bye.